You see them everywhere, right? Polls and surveys telling us what everybody thinks about, well, everything. But did you ever just stop and think, wait a minute, how do they do that? How can they ask a few people and claim to know what an entire country is thinking? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it's done.
I mean, it really does feel kind of like a magic trick. You're telling me that a group of people that could fit into a high school auditorium can speak for hundreds of millions? It seems impossible. But stick with me here, because you're about to find out that it's not magic at all. It's actually some pretty cool science. So, to crack this mystery, we've got to start with the absolute basics. Before we can understand the results, we need to know what kind of information, what kind of clues researchers are even looking for. It really boils down to three main things. First up, we've got this simple stuff: facts. These are the cold, hard, verifiable pieces of information about a person. You know, things like your age, your income, where you live. Stuff that, in theory, you could look up and prove. They're the solid foundation of the data. And then, of course, there are opinions. This is what we usually think about when we hear the word poll. It's all about what's going on inside someone's head, what they believe, how they feel, what they prefer, or even what they plan to do. And the key thing here, there's no right or wrong answer. It just is.
And that brings us to our third building block, behavior. This is all about what a person has already done. Not what they think about doing, not what they plan to do, but a report of something that happened in the past. And this distinction is absolutely crucial.
Just look at this. On the left, how many times do you plan to visit the library next week? That's an opinion. It's an intention. It lives in the future. But look at the right. How many times did you visit the library last week? See the difference? That's a behavior, a past action. It's a subtle change in wording, but for a researcher, it changes everything. They have to know exactly which type of data they're after. All right, so we've got our building blocks: facts, opinions, and behaviors. Now we need a blueprint. A researcher has to decide how to structure their survey, and the biggest choice they have to make is all about time. And it basically comes down to this: are you taking a single photograph, or are you shooting a movie? A cross-sectional survey is that photo, a snapshot of what a population looks like at one specific moment. But a longitudinal survey? That's the movie. It tracks people over time to see how things change.
And even if you decide to shoot that movie, you've got options. You could do a panel study, where you actually follow the very same people over many years. Or you could do a trend study, where you take a fresh sample of the same population, like asking this year's high school seniors the same questions you asked last year's. Or you could do a cohort study, where you follow a specific group, like everyone from the class of '99 as they move through life.
Okay, we know what we're measuring, and we have a blueprint for when we're measuring it. So the next logical step is picking the right tool for the job. How are we actually going to get this survey out there and get answers back? And as you can see, every single method has a big pro and a big con. Doing in-person interviews gets you amazing data, but wow, is it expensive and slow. Phone calls are fast, sure, but you miss anyone who doesn't have a landline. Sending surveys in the mail is cheap, but let's be honest, most of us just toss them. And giving a survey to a captive audience like a college class, you'll get answers from everyone, but that group probably doesn't represent the whole country. So the real takeaway is there's no single best tool. It all depends on the project. And now we've arrived. We're at the very heart of the mystery we started with. How in the world can a tiny, tiny group of people represent the views of millions upon millions? Well, the answer is probably not what you think it is. Let's look at that number again. 1,500. That's a typical sample size for a national poll in the US. How can the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of just 1,500 people tell you anything meaningful about a nation of over 330 million?
This right here, this is the golden rule of survey research. Let that sink in for a second. It's not about how many people you ask. It's about who you ask. The accuracy comes from how well your small group mirrors the entire population. A huge sample that's biased is basically worthless.
And this is the perfect analogy. Think about it. If you make a giant pot of soup, you don't need to drink half of it to know if you added enough salt. You just need to stir it really, really well so everything is mixed together, and then take one single spoonful. If you've stirred it properly, that one spoonful will tell you everything you need to know about the entire pot. That's what a representative sample is. And in the world of surveys, stirring the pot means random selection, making sure every single person has an equal chance of being in your spoonful. That's the secret sauce.
So now that we've got all the pieces, we know what we're measuring, we've got our blueprints and our tools, and we've cracked the code on sampling, let's just quickly see how it all fits together into one streamlined process.
It really is this systematic. First, you plan. What's our question and who are we asking? Second, you sample. You use that random stir-the-pot method to get a representative group. Third, you design the instrument. You write really good, clear questions. Fourth, you conduct this survey with the right tool. And finally, step 5, you analyze the data and report what you found. It's a real journey from a simple question to a powerful conclusion. So let's bring it all home. What's the big picture? We've seen that measuring public opinion isn't guesswork or magic. It's a careful, deliberate science designed to create a tiny but remarkably accurate reflection of a massive population.
So if you walk away with anything today, let it be this. Surveys measure 3 things: facts, opinions, and behaviors. They can be a quick snapshot in time or a long-running movie. Every method for collecting data has its own trade-offs. But the most important thing, the magic ingredient, isn't the size of the survey, it's how representative that sample is. It's all about the spoonful, not the size of the pot. And really, that's the final thought I want to leave you with. The next time you see a poll number flashed on a screen, you won't just see a percentage. You'll see the science behind it, you'll think about the questions they asked, the tools they used, and the incredible power of that small, random, representative sample. It kind of changes things, doesn't it?